What's the difference between a single stage, a turret, and progressive press? Well, basically, a single stage is what you see here. It's got a single ram, and it does one stage at a time. You screw the resizing die in, you resize the cases, unscrew the resizing die, screw the bullet seat die in, you know, seat the bullets, screw that out, and then screw your crimp die in. Single stage presses are very, very accurate, they're very strong, there's very little to go wrong with them, they're pretty much bomb proof. But this is the slowest method of reloading using a single stage press. Turret presses. Turret presses differ from a single stage press because they actually have a carousel that sits on the top of the press that indexes. So if you're resizing, you can resize it and then turn it and seat your bullet, and you don't have to take the dies out every time you want to change the process. So with the single stage press you have to batch reload. With turret you can do one process on the cartridge one after another, so you can resize, decap, load the powder, seat the bullet, and crimp one after the other, and you never have to touch the dies. All you have to do is index the dies. A progressive press goes one step further in that it does every step of a reloading process all at once on a separate cartridge, and the cartridges are held on a shell plate, and there'll be either 3 or 4 stations. So with one pull of the lever you get a loaded cartridge, and it does all 4 processes at once. So with one pull of the lever on one cartridge case, it resizes the die. It resizes the case. On the second station, it will, if in the case of pistol ammunition, it will bell the case and put the powder into the case. On the third station, it seats the bullet, and on the fourth station, it crimps the die, and then the bullet's spat out. These progressive presses are very complicated. Mechanically, there's a lot of mechanical workings, a lot of them auto-index, some of them you index manually by hand. But they're more expensive than single stage presses, but what you get back in that is speed of reloading, whereas this might take you an hour to reload 50 rounds. On a progressive press, it might take you an hour to reload 400 or 500 rounds. That's the speed difference. Why don't you want to get lubricant on the shoulder of the case? The shoulder being this part of the case here. Well, the reason you don't want to get lubricant on the shoulder of the case when you resize is because that lubricant can cause hydraulic pressure inside the die, which then dents the case, which then in turn can affect the internal dimensions and so on and so forth. You know, for consistency, you want all the cases to be the same. So if you get lubricant, especially the oil-based lubricants, on the shoulder of the case, you can dent the shoulder of the case. The parts of the case that you want to resize are the body of the case and the neck of the case, and that's where we lubricate it. We lubricate it on the body, on the neck, and on the inside, because there's a mandrel that goes inside the neck of the case and to support the brass while it's being squeezed in. So we want to lubricate the inside of the neck of the case as well. I've heard that reloads are not as powerful as factory ammunition. Well, the great thing about reloading is that you can tailor the loads to the purpose that you want to do. If you are wanting to shoot practice ammunition, with low recoil and low costs in terms of powder, then you can load a reduced load, which a lot of pistol shooters do. They load a reduced load, which is different from a hunting or a full powered hunting or defensive round. They tend to be full metal jackets or wad cutters that are used in reduced loads for plinking and target shooting. On the other hand, it is possible to massively overcharge your case, especially with some of the pistol cases. It's quite easy to double and even triple charge the case, and without the powder overfilling the case. So you can overcharge cases very, very easily while you're reloading. Having said that, the experienced reloader can safely increase the performance of a particular round past that of the factory equivalent. For example, my 50 grain 223 round VMAX round is about 150 to 200 feet a second faster in the Hornady factory equivalent. So it is possible to create safely rounds that have better performance over their factory equivalent, but it is quite easy to overdo it and create an unsafe round which would cause catastrophic failure of a firearm, which is why you should be very, very careful about reloaded ammunition where the source is unknown. Always only use reloaded ammunition that's either been reloaded by yourself or someone who you know has lots of experience in reloading and has developed a good load which is safe to use in your firearm. What is the difference between neck sizing and full length sizing? With neck sizing, it does exactly what it says in the tin. You're just resizing the neck. But the body of the case is the same as when it expanded to fit your chamber. So the body of the case will be the same as your chamber dimensions, but the neck will have been resized so it will actually accept a bullet. This is a once fired case, and you can see that the bullet slips in and out really easily. Once you resize it, that bullet will be tight in there. Some people think neck sizing is more accurate than full length resizing, where the body of the case and the neck of the case is resized back to factory new dimensions. Really, my experience of both is that you need to use whichever one creates the most accurate load for yourself. Sometimes some rifles like full length resized, other rifles like neck resized. It depends on the load that you're using and what is most accurate for you. One thing that I will say about neck resizing is that ammunition then has to be used in the same rifle as the brass was fired from. This is because the brass has expanded to fit the chamber of the firearm and hasn't been pressed back to factory new dimensions by a full length resize. With full length resizing, the ammunition can be used in any rifle of that caliber, but with neck resizing, it should really be the rifle that the ammunition has, the brass has been fired from, the once fired brass has been fired from. So that's the difference between neck resizing and full length resizing.